Vanakkam. Welcome to the next video of Heritage of Tamils. In this, we'll talk about the seventh topic, management principles in Tirukkural. Tirukkural, as we already saw in the classical text of Tamil, Tirukkural is one of the 41 classical texts of Tamil. This belongs to the Padinankeezh Kanakku Noolgal. Even though Tirukkural is dated about 100 BCE, this is a didactic work authored by a poet whom we only know the name as Thiruvalluvar. So no other detail or known for sure. Of course, there are a lot of legends around him, but not sure, not in a historical way. So this Tirukkural is what we got, and this is such a wonderful text and the prominent text among all the Tamil literature we have. Tirukkural is prized very much among Tamil people and even outside the Tamil diaspora because of its quality of the values and the way it presents the value in a very concise way. Typically, ancient literature will be very lengthy, but the Tirukkural is very precise, very concise, but also very deep in what is expressing. The Tirukkural text contains 1330 couplets, what we call Kuratpa. It is classified into three books, Aram, Porul, and Kamam. So they are called Pal segmentation in Tamil. Arathupal, Porutpal, and Kamathupal. Arathupal deals with the virtues related to people who are living in household, Illaraviyal, and ascetic people, Thuravaraviyal. Porutpal deals with statecraft. So that is classified basically as Arasiyal, directly related to the king, and Angaviyal. Angam is the part of the government. So everything related to the government except the king, that is called Angam. Angam means part. So Angaviyal refers to all those things like ministers, allies, army, everything. That is called Angam. And the Kamam, Kamathupal talks about love life. There are two love life. I already mentioned that. So one is clandestine love, which is called the Kalaviyal. Another one is married love, which is called the Karpiyal. So basically, Thirukkural is considered as a didactic work. It's also a very poetic work, and you can find the concepts of Aram, virtue, in all the segments of Thirukkural. But particularly concepts of management also can be found in all the segments. But we can focus on Porul, which deals with the statecraft. So how to run a government, right? In the sense of the ancient kingdoms. But we can apply that to modern times also. So basically, every chapter from this Purut there are 70 chapters, right? But each and every chapter we can take a lesson regarding management. So if I start talking about each and every one of them, this will become a very lengthy video. In fact, we can even design a course based on Tirukkural. So it is very much possible to design a management course based on Tirukkural, or anyone want to improve any aspect of their leadership quality, right? Interpersonal skill, communication skill. So they can start with Tirukkural. So there is a chapter definitely available for them. They can start with that. And if you are looking for something, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. So let me quickly give you a glimpse of what this Porut Paul contains about statecraft, all the chapters in it, the 70 chapters. I'm not going to list all the 70 chapters. That will be very lengthy. So what I will do is I will particularly list the chapters meant for a king, right? Royalty. I will do that, and certain chapters meant for the ministers surrounding the king, right? So these chapters, there are about some 35 chapters here. So I'll quickly go through them. So Irai Marchi, the grandeur of the king. So the nature of the, so for, you don't think that it's for a king. So why should I read that? You consider yourself as a king. So here, wherever you see king, you replace that word with a leader. So a good king should be like this. You read it as a good leader should be like this. So if you want to develop your leadership quality, you can apply that. Kalvi, education. Why education is very important for us. Kallamai, what are the drawbacks of not learning? KLB, listening. Thirukkural says listening is more important than learning, because learning cannot be done by everyone, right? That takes a special talent, and that requires a lot of resources, time, everything. Even today, that is the case. Everyone cannot go and learn, but today everyone can listen. So, like we have YouTube, there are so many wise people who have given discourses on YouTube. So you don't need any basic education; you just listen to them. So listening is more readily accessible, and that's listening is more important than learning. Like Thirukkural says, "Kattilan ayinum ketka." Even if you are not learned, don't worry, but listen to wise people, wise concepts, wise things. So listening is very important. So he emphasizes on listening. Arivudamai, so being wise, possessing wisdom, why it's important. Kutram Kadidal, how to avoid faults with oneself. What are the possible faults and how we should avoid that. Periyarai Tunai Kodal, seeking the help of wise people. See, I have highlighted certain chapters. So, because as I said, all of these Purutpal you can consider to be giving you management lessons or management principles, and I've highlighted certain chapters which are more relevant, which are more important and more relevant. So if you are going to learn management principles from Tirukkural, you start with these chapters, right? At least don't miss these chapters. That's why I have highlighted those chapters. So that one is Periyare Tunai Kodal, seeking the help of wise people. Sittinam Seramai, avoiding lowly company, because they will drag you to their level. So you should avoid that company. தெரிந்து செயல் வகை. See, that's a very important management aspect. Deliberation before action. I will show you examples, one couplet from each of this chapter as much as possible. And another next one is very important. Vali aridal, knowing your strength. Now, when Thirukkural says Vali aridal, he is not simply saying know your strength. He also says know the strength of the task you are undertaking, know the strength of the tools you are using, know the strength of the people who support you, as well as know the strength of all these things which are opposing you. So all that you should know, knowing strength or judging the strength, that's called Vali aridal. Kalam aridal, time. So judging, learning, or knowing the proper time to do things. Each thing has its own time. So if you do it in the right time, you will benefit. Otherwise, you may lose. Hidden aridal. Say similarly, there's a particular location more suitable for a particular task. You should know where to do what. Hidden aridal. Terindu telidal. This is another very important management aspect. For a leader, good leader, we should possess this quality. So how to test and choose the right person for you to trust. So telidal is choosing. Teridal is selecting or testing. Telidal is choosing. So terindu telidal, test, how to test people and then choose the right people. Terindu vinayadal, so how to properly choose someone and then entrust them, delegate work to them. Sutran tadal, this is very important. So how to appreciate, felicitate people around you. Pochavamai, unforgetfulness. So a good leader should not be unforgetful. So unforgetfulness. Sengonmai, just ruling. You can consider this, if you are a leader, you should be unbiased to your people, to your subordinates. So you can translate this to modern times like that. Kodungonmai, cruel tyranny. If you are a biased person, if you are not a reasonable person, so what will be the problem you will face? Right? Veruvanda seyyamai. To your subordinates, you should not be harsh. I'll show the example. Beautiful couplets are there. Kannotam, benign looks, taking care of people, being kind to people. Otru adal, otru is espionage. Again, you may think, okay, so I'm not a king, I'm not going for war with enemies. Why should I talk about this? No. See, everything you can, there is a lesson for our personal as well as management skill. You can take it for your personal development as well as for your management development. I will show them. I will elaborate these points in the examples I have chosen from these chapters. Ookamudamai, being enthusiastic in performing the goal you have set. Madi inmai, avoiding laziness. Should work tirelessly, avoid laziness. Alvinai udamai, being effortful. Right? Alvinai is effort. Being effortful. Idukkan adiyamai. So no matter how talented you are, how much you plan, how much effortful, enthusiastic you are, there are cases where you are not able to perform achieve what you wanted to achieve. So there will be misapprehensions, there will be failures, but a good leader should not lose hope in the face of a mishap. So facing mishap with confidence, that is what we call idukkan adiyamai. And again, chapters related to ministers. So like we had irai anmai, irai maatchi, we have amaichu. It defines a good minister. Okay? So here this you can apply to yourself and you can apply to people whom you depend for counsel. So ministers, counselors. Sol vanmai, eloquence, very 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 important. Today we emphasize a lot on communication skills. So sol vanmai, Thirukkural talks about sol vanmai. Vinay thuimai, purity of action. You should maintain this purity. It's a purity of spirit. You should not do unethical works. In today's world, we are talking more about ethics, because in the past we have seen many people, they have chosen the wrong aspects, wrong path to achieve the goal. That is wrong, because now we are suffering, right? For example, the ecosystem is spoiled. We are suffering the effects of that. So Vinay Thuimai is very important. Vinay Thippam, determination to act, being determined in your action. That is very important. Vinay Sayal Vagai, modes of action. So how to carry out what you chose to achieve. To the embassy or messenger. Again, there are very good qualities enumerated for a messenger that you can apply for yourself. Mannarai Serdolugal, getting along with kings or getting along with your superiors, that's important. You should understand. Kuripu Aridal, very important chapter, right? Very, very important concept to understand. To be a good leader, to be a good professional, you should understand this. Kuripu Aridal, Kuripu, hint, right? So non-verbal communication. So around you, people will be expressing what they really think using their non-verbal communication. What they say is important, but what they express is more important. And a good leader should be able to understand that. This understanding the hint within hint, that is very important. That is called Kuripu Aridal. Abai Aridal, knowing the audience, knowing the court, knowing where you are, so how to behave, how to speak. Abai Anjamai. So, but of course, you should know that, but wherever you are, express your purpose. So don't be afraid of them. Nadu, country, that you can translate to company or organization. So of course, certain things may apply, certain things may not apply, but there are lessons always, right? Aran, fortress or defense. Porul Sayal Vagai, earning methods, proper earning methods, all these are there. And there are 12 chapters on friendship. So Thirukkural, I have given 12 chapters on friendship. Like I mentioned in the last video, you can see these things are given as an affirmation as well as in negation. So do this and don't do this. For example, you say Ari Udamai, they say Kalvi, Thirukkural says, have education, so affirmation. Kallamai, the problems of not being learned. So everything is given in affirmation as well as in negation. So he talks about friendship, right? In the sense allies. The friends for a king are allies. So he talks about allies. And there are 12 chapters on allies. Again, both in affirmation as well as in negation. So Natpu, Thi Natpu, Kuda Natpu, Padamai, very old established friendship. Pedamai, friendship with fools. So he talks about all of that in 12 chapters, 120 couplets on friendship. So how to deal with you can take this as an interpersonal skill or developing your contacts. All those things you can talk about on friendship. And there are 80 more chapters, miscellaneous chapters of statecraft or governance, like medicine. In one chapter, Tirukkural talks about medicine. In another chapter, he talks about agriculture. So everything he mentions, everything he talks about it. So if you want to be a good leader, you should read this particular section of Tirukkural, and especially those chapters I've highlighted, and I'm going to give you certain examples from some of those chapters. I'll give something like around 12 examples, 12 couplets. Ideally, I should be talking about all these 70 to 10, 700 couplets in detail, but that will be an elaborate course. Probably in future, we'll design a course like that, management ideas based on Tirukkural. But here, no, all our ancient kings, they definitely have read Tirukkural and applied Tirukkural in their lives. And in Sanskrit, we have a parallelism for Tirukkural, which is Chanakya's Arthashastra. So Arthashastra also talks about management principles and how to run a country. So definitely all our kings seem to have been knowledgeable in both of these texts and other supporting texts. And that is why they are able to achieve so much in their lives. Even now we are talking about those people. So even today we are talking about Rajaraja Chola, Rajendra Chola, after 1000 years. Definitely they would have been trained in Tirukkural, the concepts in Tirukkural, right? So we'll see some examples from Tirukkural here. So this is from Irai Machi. So the aspects of a king, right? Monarch. Of course, you take it as for a leader. செவி கைப்ப சொற்பொருக்கும் பண்புடை வேந்தன் கவிகை கீழ் தங்கும் உலகு. The world will happily dwell under the parasol of the king who can endure bitter words. So if you want to be a good leader, you should be able to endure bitter words in the sense of feedback. So it's not all feedback will be sweet. All feedback, you should not expect all the feedback, all the criticism to be praising you. There is no use in fact. In fact, if a feedback is only praising you, there is no learning for you, there is no use for you. Real constructive feedbacks will tell you the scope for improvement. And people may not be very good in expressing that. So that may sound bitter, that may sound harsh, but you should be able to bear them. You should be able to endure them. If you do that, then you will take the message from the feedback and you will apply to your life as a leader, and you will become a better leader. And eventually people will want to be under you. That's what Thirukkural says. The world will be happily dwelling under the parasol, the Venkutra Kodai. Right? Here Thirukkural says Kavigai. Kavigai is the Venkutra Kodai, which is the symbol of the rule of the king. So the world will be happy to live under such a king who is capable of enduring bitter feedback or criticism. So feedback and criticism, one should be able to receive them, act on them in a very objective manner. So don't become sensitive about that. And another one, Periyarai Tunai Kodal. So seeking the help of or keeping the company of wise people, very important. Idiparai illada Yemara Mannan Kedupar Ilanum Kedum. So if you are a king and you don't keep wise people with you, because if you have wise people, if you do something wrong, definitely they will tell that to your face. So that is called Idithal, Idithu Uraital. Telling that you are doing something wrong, right? Stopping the king from doing something wrong or stopping a leader from doing something wrong. That is called idithal or idithu uraital. Now idipar, so wise people who will stop you from doing wrong things. If you don't have such a people, you should have such people around you, right? Of course, they will be telling you not to do this, not to do that, but only in a good constructive way. But if you are not able to understand that and if you try to avoid them, then you don't need any other enemy. That's what Tirukkural says. Kedupar ilanum kedum. So the king who does not have wise people who boldly point out his faults will fall even without any external sabotage. So there is none of your enemy has to come and sabotage your company or life. You will automatically sabotage yourself because you will be eventually doing wrong things, end up in the mishap. So that is very important. So Tirukkural very clearly says that we should be good company around us, people, and boldly point out our mistakes to us. Another chapter, Therindu Sayal Vagai, deliberation before action. Therindu Sayal Vagai. So here it says, Enni Tuniga Karumam, Tuninda Pin Ennuvam Enbadu Idukku. So before you are doing something, Karumam, some task, you should do all the deliberations before that. So planning, proper planning. You plan everything, every aspect of that before starting the task. If you think, okay, let's start the task and then on the way we'll think about that. So what is the resource? We need this much resource. We are not having even half of that. No problem. Let us start this and then we'll decide that. That is not proper management. That is not proper leadership. That is what Tirukkural says, and even says it is a disgrace. Right? So you should start after due deliberation. If you think, let me start and then deliberate, then that is a disgrace to you. Not only to you, everyone who is dependent on you. So deliberate before committing to a deed, to a task. It will be a disgrace to act and then think. So proper planning is important. Tirukkural says that's what Therindu Sayal Vagai, deliberation before action. And then Vali Aridal. So knowing your strength. There's a beautiful Tirukkural here. Vinay Valiyum, Tan Valiyum, Matran Valiyum, Tunai Valiyum, Tuki. So before doing something, Sayal, action, you should consider Tuki to analyze, right? What are the things you should analyze? Vinay Vali. What is Tirukkural used the word Vali here. Vali directly translates to strength. But when I say strength, I mean what is the merits and demerits, what are the possibilities and threats, opportunities and threats. So in modern times, we call this as a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. So if you are doing something, you should first of all identify and list the strength. Strength is your own strength for that task. Weakness, your own weakness for the task. Opportunities, what are all the possibilities you have? What are all the tools you have? All the advantages you have. And the threats, all the disadvantages you have. So like that, Tiruvallur says, Vinay Valiyum. So the SWOT analysis, the strength and weaknesses of the task you are going to perform. Tan Valiyum, self, strength and weakness of yourself. Matran Valiyum. So if there is an enemy, there's something opposing you, someone opposing you. So analyze their strength and weakness. Tunai Valiyum. So there are things, tools, people who are supporting you. And there will be things, tools, and people who will be supporting your enemy or something opposing you in the task. So you should analyze both sides. So the task, your strength, your enemy's strength, and all the supporters of your side and all the supporters of your enemy's side, all of that you should analyze. All the merits and demerits, strength and weakness. That is what we call SWOT analysis. And analyze and then go for the task. If you do all these thoroughly, then you know where you can go wrong. You can act accordingly and you can strengthen your weaknesses. You can amplify your strength, and then you definitely win the task, right? So that is what Tiruvallur says. One should act after carefully judging the strength of the action, the task ahead, one's own strength, the strength of the opponents, and the strengths of the supporters. That's what we call SWOT analysis. Another thing, Kalam knowing the right time for an action. So here Tiruvallur says, if you decide now is not the right time for doing a particular action, then you should be silent. How silent you should? You should be as silent like a crane. If you have seen crane, it will be waiting very patiently like a statue on the pond or a river, something like that, until the right fish comes. So until that, it will wait almost like a statue. All the fishes in the pond will think it is some stem, the legs of the crane or some stem of a plant. So they will start coming to near the crane. And once the right fish, the right size fish comes, the crane will strike the fish in a jiffy and catch the fish. Never fails. So Tiruvallur says, when you decide this is not the right time, this is not a favorable time for me to act, so you should be still, silent, like a crane. See why? It's a very psychological thing, because what people will do, people, they will think, okay, I'm not, so for example, you are taking an exam, so you want to take GATE exam, and you decide, okay, I'll take the GATE exam after I finish my degree. So in the 1 year, I will not take the GATE exam. But you should be maintaining silence, right? You should not be talking about that. That's what Tiruvallur says, like a crane, you should be silent, be still, in that, mentally still. So don't keep talking like, I would have done this, I would have done like, I would have studied for 10 hours, I will study for 12 hours. Don't say all those things. Just be patient, just be still in a mental state, right? Wait for the right time to come. So that's what he says. Be like a crane when not acting. When you decide it's not my favorable time, be like a crane. But once you decide this is my right time to act, then you should be very swift in your action. Ensure that your action doesn't fail. So he says, be like it strike. The kuttu, it's kuttu, right? It strikes the fish and catches without fail. So your action should be like that. So when you decide this is my right time to act, and when you act, you should ensure 100% success. So when you are not acting, be still. Don't do anything, right? Don't talk to people. Don't talk about the ifs and buts. But when you decide it's a right time to act, then act and then ensure success. That's what Tiruvallur says. Kokku okka kumbum parvattu. Kokku is the crane. Kokkokka kumbum parvattu. Matradan kuttokka seertha idathu. So when you decide it's not my right time, be like a crane. Be patient and don't spoil your energy, waste your energy talking nonsense. But when you decide it's my right time, then make a swift action like the strike of a crane. Such a beautiful imagery and message. Patience and swift action. And then idan aridal. So knowing the right location, right place for a particular job. Nedum punalum vellum mudalai adum punalin neengin adanai pira. So here Tiruvallur uses one of the poetic tools, ornamentation, called piridu mudidal ani. So saying something else. Tiruvallur is saying something else to imply idan aridal, to imply that you should know the right place for the right job. So what Tiruvallur directly says in the Thirukkural is, an alligator, a crocodile can easily win any animal inside the water. So even in the deep waters, right? Punal is water. Nedum punal is deep water. So inside deep waters, that is where the strength of the crocodile lies. So it can win any animal. See, there are cases where crocodiles can even defeat an elephant. Such a huge elephant, such a huge animal, crocodile can defeat, but inside the water. But once the crocodile comes out of the water, comes out of its zone where its strength is, in a different zone, every other animal can easily kill the crocodile. So that is what Tiruvallur says here. So why Tiruvallur is talking about crocodile? He's not talking about crocodile. He's talking about you should know where the strength lies. So for a particular job, what is your most advantageous location? So you should ensure to do the job there. This is particularly applied for kings. So when a king is decided to go on a war, you should choose the battlefield which will give advantage to him, not to his enemy, right? But we can use this for management principles also. So that is what we call Nedum punalul vellum mudalai adum punalin neengin adanai pira. A crocodile will win in deep waters, but other animals will easily conquer it when it leaves the waters. So you should choose the right place for the right action. And the therindu telidal. So I told examining people and then employing them, trusting them. Telidal is trusting them, trusting people. So how to examine people and trust them. So here Tiruvallur says, if you choose someone, if you trust someone whom you have not examined, or if you doubt someone, not trusting those people you have chosen after examination, both of that will lead you to unending troubles. So தேரான் தெளிவும் தெளிந்தான் ஐயுறவும் தீரா இடும்பை தரும். Choosing unexamined persons and doubting chosen ones, both of that will lead to unending trouble. So very, very important to trust your people. You should be able to trust your colleagues, your companions, all your stakeholders. But before that, you should choose them carefully. So choose them. Once chosen, do not doubt them. Once you have chosen a person, once you have employed a person, do not doubt them. That's very important. So choosing someone and then doubting them will be leading to trouble. Or choosing someone without proper examination will also lead to trouble. So this is a very important key management principle, right? தேரான் தெளிவும் தெளிந்தான் ஐயுறவும் தீரா இடும்பை தரும். And then தெரிந்து வினையாடல். So before entrusting, before delegating a job to someone, you should again ensure that you examine them, right? So தெரிந்து வினையாடல். So choosing the right person for a right job. So here this is a very famous Tirukkural. இதனை இதனால் இவன் முடிக்கும் என்று ஆய்ந்து அதனை அவன்கண் விடல். So because of these reasons, I decide that this person is the best person to do this job. So you should properly deliberate, delegate, and then leave the job to that person. So after choosing the right person for the job, by considering his or her merits, leave it to him or her. So proper delegation of work, and also the Tiruvallur uses the word vidal. So leave the task to him. Once you chose the proper person, delegate. Once you delegated, don't go there. Let them finish. Let them go their own way, because you have chosen them. You have examined them and you trust them that they will finish the job. You know that because of these reasons, because of these merits, this person is the right person for the job. Once you decided that, you should leave the job to that person. You should not micromanage. See, one very bad aspect of leadership is micromanaging. So some people are there, they want everything done by them. So I know they will give the job to you, but they will keep standing behind you. That will spoil the job. So micromanaging is wrong. So leave that to the right person and don't bother about it. The good delegation is very important. So that's what Tiruvallur says here. தெரிந்து வினையாடல் and the வெறுவந்த செய்யாமை. So not being harsh to your subordinates or peers. So whatever you do it in a polite way. That's Tiruvallur says that. This is particularly framed for a king, but you can translate this for leaders nowadays. So for a king, it goes like this. So கடிது ஓச்சி மெல்ல எரிக நெடிது ஆக்கம் நீங்காமை வேண்டுபவர். So a king who wants his prosperity to remain for long should start his enquiries with strictness, கடிது ஓச்சி, but should punish with mildness, மெல்ல எரிக. So when you are doing enquiries, see if something went wrong, your employees or subordinates, they made a mistake. When you are inquiring about that, be harsh. Act as if you are harsh, but don't punish them in the same harsh tone. Punish them if necessary in a mild tone. So punishment should be mild. See, the purpose of punishments should be to make them realize their mistake and also to help them to learn so that they don't repeat the mistake in future. So enforce, but without being rude. So don't be rude. Mella eriga. Even when you punish, not necessarily you should punish. Even if you have to punish, be soft, right? Be polite. But when you are inquiring, be strict. So don't let them know that you are a very lenient person. Then they won't work properly. So be strict in your inquiries, but be actually soft in your punishment, which means as far as possible, don't punish, right? Enforce, but without being rude. So that's what Tiruvallur says. So kadidu ochi mella eriga. Very beautiful phrasing as well as concept idea. And Otradal, as I said, you may think espionage. So why do I need espionage right now? Am I going to employ espions, spies to spy on my employees, spy on my colleagues? No, you don't have to do that. But what happens, there are learning even here. So here Tiruvallur says how to handle spies. ஒற்று ஒற்று உணராமை ஆள்க உடன் மூவர் சொல் தொக்க தேரப்படும். So Tiruvallur says you should have multiple spies. Of course, take it for a king for now. You should have multiple spies. A king should not depend only on one spy. Because if the spy may be killed or the spy may be compromised, so the king should not be depending only on one spy. Also, very importantly, the king should employ more spies, multiple spies for the same task, but you should keep them unknown from each other, because if they know that the other person is spy, then they may do some conspiracy between them, right? So one spy may actually go and collect the data, but the other spy may not go there. He simply take the data, copy the data from this spy and we will give the report. So the two reports will look similar. That is not proper. So king should have spies for various reasons. See, this also involves the safety of the spy. So king should involve many spies, but you should ensure that each spy is not aware of the other spy in the task. And the Tiruvallur says among such spies, for the same information, if you collect from 3 different spies who don't know each other and all the 3 information are similar, only then you should trust the information. It's such a very nuanced concept. So don't trust on only one spy, have multiple spies and ensure that they don't know each other, and then deploy the spies, at least 3 different spies for the same task, and compare their reports, and if their reports are in agreement, only then trust the information. Otherwise, some of the spy is compromised, right? So that you can know from that. And now, how can we apply this for our modern life? See, any source, for example, WhatsApp, we get lots of WhatsApp forwards, and we don't bother whether they are correct or not. You should not take the information directly. All the WhatsApp forwards are coming from only one source. So don't trust that. Go to different source. You are learning something, go to a different source. Google it yourself. Ask AI. and then come to your own conclusion. So trust multiple sources and then come to your conclusion, right? Validate them using multiple sources. So that is how you can use an ancient idea for a modern time, right? Otraadal. Alvinai udamai. So, being effortful. அருமை உடைத்து என்று அசாவாமை வேண்டும் பெருமை முயற்சி தரும். So you should not lose heart thinking something is very difficult, impossible, like that. So if you put proper and concentrated efforts, definitely you will be given the result of that. So one should not lose heart thinking a task is very difficult to achieve. Continued efforts will bring glory. பெருமை முயற்சி தரும். So this talks about perseverance. Be perceived in your efforts. Again, இடுக்கண் அழியாமை. So facing mishaps. If you have mishap, don't lose heart. Be confident and play. Again, Thirukkural here expresses a very nuanced psychological concept. இடுக்கண் வருங்கால் நகுக அதனை அடுத்து ஊர்வது அக்தொப்பது இல். So when you are facing trouble, when you are facing a mishap, smile, right? Be happy. Don't lose heart. Be happy. There is nothing better to to drive away the trouble than the smile. See, there's a psychological thing here. So if you face trouble and if you lose heart and start crying, then your brain will not think in a proper way. So even if you have a solution, you will not be able to see the solution clearly. But if you smile, which means you are keeping your composition, then you will be able to think clearly and you will be able to see the solution for the problem. That's why Tirukkural says, if you face mishap, smile at the face of trouble. There is nothing better remedy than this smile. That's what Tirukkural says. Idukkan varungal naguga அதனை அடுத்து ஊர்வது அக்தொப்பது இல். Smile when facing a trouble. There is nothing that drives away the trouble like a smile. So being cheerful in the face of trouble helps to overcome that psychological aspect. And soul one way. So this is for a minister. Thirukkural gives this for a minister, but of course you can use this for your own development. So leadership qualities or communication skills, interpersonal skills, we can use them. So விரைந்து தொழில் கேட்கும் ஞாலம் நிறைந்து இனிது சொல்லுதல் வல்லார் பெரின். ஞாலம் is the earth, world. So the world will swiftly abide by the words of those who are capable of enumerating sweetly. See, this is how to be a very effective communicator. You should first of all enumerate what you do. When you are saying something, you should be able to say that in a very structured manner. You should not simply talk. Nirandu, structured manner. Organize your thoughts and express. Inidu, keep them sweet. Ensure that the other person is listening to you. The other person is enjoying what you are saying. So if you do these two things, so if you want to be a very powerful, effective communicator, you should first of all organize your thoughts and ensure the other person who's that person is listening to you. You are talking in a way that the person enjoys your talk. If you do that, then the world means everyone around you. They will quickly, they will not think twice before they abide by your words. They will follow your words. So the world will swiftly abide by your words of those who are capable of enumerating speech. So enumerate, structured speaking, and sweet in a sense. So you should not say lies, but whatever you're saying, say it in a nice word. Don't choose harsh words. Put it in a pleasant way. Power of effective communication. Soul one way. And then vinay tippam. So being determined in the task you undertook. எண்ணியாங் எய்துவ எண்ணியர் திண்ணியர் ஆக பெரிய. If you are very determined in achieving something, then you will achieve it in the very way you want to achieve it. Not quitting. That is very important. That's vinay tippam. வினை செயல் வகை. The modes of action. பொருள் கருவி காலம் வினை இதனோடு ஐந்தும். பொருள் கருவி காலம் வினை இடனோடு ஐந்தும் இருள் தீர எண்ணி செயல். So before you start some action, you should contemplate, analyze 5 things, 5 aspects. பொருள், the material required. So am I having all the required material? Karuvi, all the tools required. Kalam, is this the correct time for doing that? Vinay, the right task. So analyze the task, what the task requires. Idam, location. So material, tools, time, task, and location. So you should consider all of them, evaluating them properly, and then start the action. If you do that, you definitely will achieve the goal. So evaluating and utilizing the resources properly, right? That is what Vinay Sayal Vagai. And I said Puriparidal, understanding hints, very, very important. So not only what people say, but the tone they say, the body language, everything. You should be able to understand their message, the correct message from the everything. That is what we call Puripu Aridal. Puripu Aridal, a good minister will know what the king thinks every time, all the time. So that is what we call Kuripu Aridal. Like that, a good employer should be like that, a good employee should be like that. So whether you are a subordinate, whether you are a supervisor, with your peers, you should be able to understand them. Kuripu Aridal is very, very important, non-verbal communication. And the Thirukkural says, those people who are capable of understanding the hints among hints. See, people are expressing. That is, verbal communication is there, direct communication is there. So first of all, one should be capable of understanding in between the lines, reading between the lines. This is what Kuripu Aridal. But the Thirukkural goes to the next level. So even among the hints, there is a hint. So reading between the lines, reading between those lines, right? That is what Thirukkural says. Kurippil kuriparidal. Kurippil kuripunarvarai urupinul yadu koduttum kolal. Understanding hints is a very good quality. But those people who are capable of understanding the hints among hints, you should never lose them. Once you identify such people, whatever you pay for them, yadu koduttum kolal. So do whatever, give them, right? Whatever they demand, whatever they want, give them and keep them in your company, keep them in your organization. That's what Thirukkural says. So here he emphasizes the importance of people who are very sensitive, nuanced in understanding the hint. Also, he emphasizes giving the right package for the people. If you understand someone is very skillful, very important for your organization, you should not hesitate to give them the right package. That's also very important. Otherwise, enemies will steal them. That's very important, very key concept in management principles. So, given some examples, right? A few couplets. There are 700 couplets in Purutpal. All of them, there is a message for us. I have given a few very key couplets for management principles, and as an exam answer, you can choose one or two or three among them, and study only those, memorize those, and write. You don't have to write all of this as an exam answer. You just choose whichever your favorite is. Choose two, three among them, and then write for the exam answer. But now, management principles in Tirukkural. So Tirukkural is a very ancient text, right? Almost 2000 years old. And at the time of Tirukkural, the structure of the society is different. We had kingdoms, we had kings, so we had subjects under the king. So is it, can I apply Tirukkural for today's society, today's modern society? The structure is entirely different. People are all different. Companies, organization, corporates are different. But of course, we can translate. You don't have to verbatim apply Tirukkural to modern times, but you can translate that to modern times. You can adapt Tirukkural to modern times. So I have given some few indicators here, key indicators. So wherever Tirukkural talks about king or a monarch, you take it as an individual who wants to be a good leader. So your leadership qualities as a leader for a company or organization, you can apply those things to the leader. For example, education is important for a king. Education is important for a leader. Right? So Kalvi important, KLV important. Kings, ministers, cabinet, subjects. So there is a hierarchy in the ancient society. There is a hierarchy in modern organizations, superiors, peers, and subordinates. So as an engineer, you always be starting your career as a middle manager. So there are people who are your superiors, there are people who are your peers, there are people who are your subordinates. So you can apply. So when you are dealing with your superiors, you be the minister, let them be the king. When you are dealing with your subordinates, you be the king, let them be the ministers. So like that, you can apply Tirukkural in various scenarios, right? Country. So wherever Tirukkural talks about a country, you take it as a company or organization. Subjects or people, you take as your employees or customers. Allies, friendship. I know there are 12 chapters for friendship in Tirukkural. That basically refers to allies of a king. But here you can talk about your partners or stakeholders. So how to maintain a good relationship between them. Who will be a good friend? Who will be a bad friend? Who will be a good partner? Who will be a bad partner? So we definitely can translate Tirukkural to modern times, and it's still very relevant even in modern times. And there are beautiful and deep, very resourceful management principles in Tirukkural, which I have enumerated in the previous text. So not only for exam, you should definitely learn this and apply this in your life for a better life. So see you in the next video. So keep supporting me. All your likes, shares, especially your comments, feedback. I'm very much looking forward for them. So thank you very much. See you all in the next video.